Hello, good morning. I guess this is the first time I'm doing the presentation and video cam for the purpose of the explaining this particular website, and also for facilitating those who want to study for the estate agent examination conducted by the Board of Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agents and Property Managers in Malaysia. And I've gone through this exam myself from 2014. Having taken all these exams, I have shared my work in the website in the initial phase, in the initial phase under the blogspot.com, which is actually the broker system of free blogging. So of course, as the number of readers has exceeded the amount that is required to change to a better server site, and therefore I have chosen to use WordPress. And WordPress is a very powerful website building platform, and being good in one, also being costly in another. So being costly means I need to subscribe to the server and also pay for the domain name. And therefore the website has been upgraded, and also in current setting being added slides presentation, as well as now going into video presentations. So this video series would actually improve the delivery of content for the estate agent examination subjects. This video series starts today, and today I actually wanted to go through some introduction and background for the purpose of understanding. So therefore, without further discussion onto the details, I have a presentation whiteboard behind me. This whiteboard, I have written some key topics that we are supposed to go through, and these key topics I'd like to mention here is estate agency is a main issue of our discussion in the whole series of website. Who is this estate agent? Why is this estate agent important? Why is this agent not important? In certain aspect of our work, we understand that sometimes we are indeed not important to the customer or clients. And why is that so? I would like to go through today. And therefore, eventually, if this series of videos could help, what is my purpose of doing this series of video? The profession itself, to have a more in-depth understanding, and your purpose here as in going through the slides and presentation and videos, and also how to use the estateagentexam.com website, the way that you navigate for the content for the purpose of preparing for the examination. So let us begin of the terminology of what is estate agent, purpose of estate agency. So you have heard about negotiator, estate agent, broker, and all the terms that is being used to engage a person for the purpose of either looking for a house, selling for a house, or in fact just getting to know what is about in the real estate industry. So the estate agent in Malaysia is considered a profession under the law, which is the Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent and Property Managers Act 1981. So this particular law, in fact, governs the profession of estate agents. So without the license of estate agent agency, which is the e-license, conducting the work of estate agent's practice is actually illegal and punishable under the section 30 of the law, and the highest possible fine and imprisonment for this offence can be 300,000 or in fact or and it can be together with the imprisonment of 3 years. So this part of the law has been around since 1985, and in fact a lot of amendment has been made until the latest amendment was in 2017 December year end. Generally, the job of an estate agent in the context of the law is acting as a middle person, which means you have a boss, so-called principal, and who in his choice of carrying out his job doesn't want to do it himself, or he is not around in town, or he is having other things to do, therefore he engaged another person to carry out that particular job. In the case of selling house, he engaged an agent to carry out the selling of his house. Thus the agent actually is authorized to do the negotiation, to engage with the client in the market. That means to get the advertisement done, to promote the house, to in fact talk to the buyers, to show the house to the buyers. And when in the aspect of the law, the third party, this then means the person or the buyer or interest party who engage another agent to represent this third party, then you would have two agents negotiating for individual purposes. So the appointed agents, one is appointed by the seller, another is appointed by the buyer, in fact charge their fee based on the appointment from whoever who appoints this agent. So a person who is appointed to represent the seller would charge a fee for his work done with the seller. Then the person who is appointed by the buyer would charge his fee with the buyer. And you cannot have an agent charging his commission or fee from both seller as well as buyer. Now this is the main reason why I would want to emphasize that if you can understand the aspect of employed killer or assassin, then you will understand that an agent who is supposed to be an assassin cannot go to the target or cannot go to the victim or target to ask for a fee. And that would actually brings up the question that the targeted victim would pay him off instead of getting killed. So this is very much misunderstood in the market, whereby people tend to say agents will collect fees from both sides, which is actually not true. And in the reason of the example just now, you cannot go to the targeted victim to ask for a fee whereby he can pay this particular killer to go back and kill his own boss. So therefore, in certain contexts, estate agents is misunderstood in the market by many because of this misunderstanding. So therefore, the issue of who is an agent, who carries out his job based on the appointment and engagement by his principal to engage him for a certain frame of time, for a certain scope of work, for a certain amount of leeway to negotiate. So that has to be an instruction given from his boss or whoever who appoints him. And therefore, he has a certain boundary for his work, and until certain job is done, only he is allowed to charge his fee. So therefore, this gives some background on who is an estate agent or who is an agent as in the whole context of agency contract. Now we move on to quite interesting area, which is why is he important? Why is estate agent important? Now estate agent is important, just now we have mentioned about the issue of bosses having no time, bosses having other reasons not to appear in the eye of the negotiation. There are reasons other than these two, which means the particular person doesn't want to leave it to the public to consider something which is considered risky or unimportant. So this is a bit of they call behind the scene thing. So an agent is supposed to represent his boss, who is someone who doesn't want to appear in the eye of negotiation. Take for example, you are a tycoon, you are a very famous person. Definitely you would know that people tends to hide the price. They would increase the price when they heard that you are looking for that plot of land. Therefore, in order to hide this particular key information, you would appoint an agent who represents you to negotiate for the best price instead of appearing in the public. That would affect the position to negotiate your particular deal. So this is considered something which a lot of people tends to do in today's scenario of context of security, personal data, as well as reputation of business. So agents are appointed to carry out job within scope. So in that particular appointment just now, he who is the agent would be given the instruction to do certain thing and certain price level to discuss with the client, and also to always listen to the principal who appoints him, to protect his interests, and also to in fact put a timeline to carry out certain job. So to say he is not important, this can be seen in another aspect. So an agent is important because he represents the principal and carry out his job, while the principal has reason not to appear, or busy, or he prefer not to be seen. Now, he is not important, an agent is not important, sometimes is to the eye of the public, because the end item, the end product doesn't change, because it is something which is a building or land, a piece of land, or a building, a commercial building. For a buyer who is actually looking at the building, he doesn't really mind this building is negotiated by, in fact negotiated by the owner himself, or negotiated by the agent appointed by the owner. To the buyer or to the third party, the building is important, but not the owner or not the agent. He who is interested in the building wants to buy that building for his own purpose. As long as the price is right, as long as the parameters, the elements that allows him to own that property, he can actually acquire the property without having to consider which agent he goes through or which particular owner he buy it from. So that is the reason why an estate agent in certain time is viewed as not important. So A or B or even a unlicensed broker, as long as the property is the targeted property by the buyer, there is no difference getting it from particular agent A or particular agent B. This is being one of the challenge of the market, and people who are unable to see this tends to feel that they are not adding value to the business, being that you can be very knowledgeable, but the knowledge doesn't necessarily bring you to a conclusion for the buyer to close the deal, being that the buyer doesn't really matter about what knowledge, but his concern is the particular location or the particular property. Now, lastly, we will go through the third parameter, what is about in my video. We have a video for purpose of more shortened or summarized way of imparting the knowledge. I have done write-up in articles and also have done presentation slides, but video is particularly important to maybe elaborate and explain certain key concepts which cannot be probably carried out by the conventional writing. Therefore, this video series is more to create the interest by not book reading and also definitely not pure verbatim from the few key textbooks that is usually used by most people. Now, video presentation for me would also include one very important aspect, which is the part about navigation. Navigation in a website is now key to bring in efficient way of learning. For example, in fact, in a website search, you can search keywords which enables you to learn about that particular topic in a better and a faster manner. For example, if we were to use those books, then we would have to look for the chapter of the book and then look for the particular subsection, and then therefore we only read particular section. Then we may have to go back to the indexes at the back of the book and then look for where about there are other areas in the book which touch on the same topic. But in the case of website, it has a search bar, and therefore this search bar can immediately collect all the different topics regarding that particular keywords and present to you in a better, shorter time. So that improve the efficiency in learning and also to improve your space of how to link up a few chapters into one single reading. As you can see, links are connected from one topic to another topic, and sometimes even the external websites. So this is the purpose of this video, to allow you to see how certain techniques of learning can improve your so-called process of going for this particular examination. So without further drilling into topics which are better off presented in a website, I would navigate to that website front page.